Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host Jojo on a special day. How are you?
Special Friday, TGIF. TGIF.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so funny that you say
What?
that because yesterday I was trying to remember like the TV shows that I used to watch on Fridays. But no, with Jonathan, I was like, what did they call it? What was it? Like I couldn't remember TGIF or TGI
Mhm.
Fridays. And that was all the programming that I used to watch when I was younger.
Me
Um,
too.
because people were talking about like you might be in the age bracket to have watched Nickelodeon and like Nick at Night and Disney Channel stuff. It didn't exist really, I don't think, when I was younger.
Not for
So,
me. I had like Nick at Night, Dick at Night, whatever it's called. Well,
Nick.
something similar. But like in Nova Scotia, we didn't have Nickelodeon. We didn't have Disney. We didn't have those channels. So
Okay.
YTV
Um,
was my thing. But
I definitely
TGIF,
watched
love TGIF.
I couldn't remember it until right now. So thank you, Jojo, for like triggering my memory here so
Yeah.
I could remember something that I talked about 3 days ago. Two. 2 days ago. Hello, Sedani Speaks. Thank you for being here. Happy Friday. Friday the 25th. 25th is my favorite number, and it's because my birthday's on the 25th, but I just
hmm
think it's just such a well-shaped number. Like it has like a little bit of a curve. Like the front part
Ooh,
looks a bit like a swan, and like the back.
yeah.
I think it's just a very nice looking
Ooh.
two numbers.
When I
So it's
was
my lucky number.
for the longest time in my life, I used to write in the air, and I be like my penmanship is so beautiful. Like I love cursive and like writing numbers like a 2, and a 5 crisp. That feels so good. Yeah.
Yes, I mean a 5 is a very nice number to make.
Ooh. Then you get to go back
It's
on
so
top.
sometimes you put a little tail on the end. I don't know.
Yes.
I love the
Start from the
25th. So
bottom, go to the top. Like there's so many options. The 5.
I've never done that before.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. You could
Is
go from
that
like
coming
a
from like an artist perspective because you have a nice like an artist's hand? I don't necessarily. I know how to draw, but I'm not
yeah.
an artist, I would say.
I think so. I like to change it a lot too. I like to change my A's. I like to do capitals, lowercase. Like I find something interesting about shaping things differently. Like the J. I used to write a J so strange, and people would be like, "What is that?" I'm like, "That's a J. It's my J." But yeah, I'll show it to you. It's really weird. I'll write it
I
for you
need
later.
Yeah, like I don't even know what your signature looks like.
Oh, it's all loops. It's just a big old J and O loop loop de loop de loop de loop de loop de loop out. It's really cute.
Mine is not like that at all. Hold on, I'll show you my signature.
Oh, I want to get
It,
mine. One sec. I know we're supposed to be talking big bro, but one sec.
we'll wait for people to join in. We're here at a special time. Hi, Lady Di. My childhood go-to were Lassie and Leave It to Beaver. Lady Di, I've
Lassie.
seen a little bit of Lassie. It might have just been just out of my era, and I've seen some Leave It to Beaver, but it would definitely have been in the rerun type phase of that series.
Leave It to Beaver. I know Leave It to Beaver. Lassie I definitely watched.
I saw Todrick's Entertainment Tonight interview.
Heard about it.
Natalie, well, what did he? Okay, he probably said like, I don't want to engage with social media because of like my mental health, and I want to, you know, I feel as though that the experience didn't show who I truly was, and it was pandering to like the narrative that I wasn't a good person or a good player. That's probably what he
Yeah.
said.
The
That's
only
my
thing
guess.
I think the only thing that I saw about it was the fact that he mentioned like a lot of people love to mention that the live feeds aren't consistent and they're not on all the time and you're only getting bits and pieces. When every interview of evicted house guests mentioned Todrick being like a crappy person in there, get the hint, Todrick. Like that's not from feeds, that's from their own experiences in the house. I'd leave it at that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want to push the blame. Okay, hold on. Put it closer. Hold on.
Okay, that's my signature. It's all loops.
Oh my
Like
god, it
all of.
is. Here we go, loop de loo.
Yeah.
Here do loop de lie.
And this
Oh,
is how I used to draw my J. Is
I
that a
guess
J?
it's kind of a J.
Yeah.
It's kind of an
Is it?
F as well.
Yeah, it is more of a small F, you're right. But I always love to like give it a little flair.
A little flair. Okay, hold on. Let me
Yes,
give you a good. Okay, I'm gonna try to do it big, even though it's hard to do a signature big.
it was. Oh, I love it. That looks like some sort of embroidery. Like it should be like have a circle around it. Like yeah, I like it.
I remember when I was in a design degree, not degree, diploma, and I remember we had to make our own like letterhead and stationery, and so I kind of like use this, and so I'm thinking now like maybe I should bring that back
Yeah.
and make like a pattern and like make some like merch with my signature on it. Like who needs Gucci? Let's have a Chantele Francis.
Maybe Kyle would sell some of your merch.
Oh, you watched it? I mean, I could see him pulling out merch for sure.
You
Right?
could, yes, 100%. He was wearing it, so you know, he was wearing it the last couple of days.
It would be a nice tattoo. I don't
Ooh,
have any tattoos. You're
me
tattoo
neither.
free as well. I
Yeah.
mean, I would say yes, but I just don't know if I'd ever get a tattoo. But if I did, it would be something that maybe I'd consider. But
I
I'm
like
right
it.
now I'm really thinking like to maybe try to make it into a pattern and see if I can make a textile.
Yeah, 100%.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, you can use it as like a stamp, for letterhead. What other places can you use it? If you ever wanted to embroider your towels, like that's it.
I'm obsessed. And so a new idea is born, everybody.
Ooh.
It's amazing. But old ideas still had to be had because we are still going to talk about yesterday's episode of Big Brother. What did you think of the overall episode? I know you really want to get into what happened after the fact.
Uh-huh.
But before we get to those spoilers, how'd you like yesterday's episode?
I thought yesterday's episode was a bit of filler. I felt like we could have had like an introduction to the HOH. I would have loved to have
Well,
seen
we
like
did, but you know
I
what I
would have
mean.
loved to have seen like the start of it. They don't have to finish it like they usually they do that all the time where they'll start the HOH and this is the end of our show and tune in on Monday to see the results. Would have loved that. Um, I thought it was a filler episode. It could have been. I could have skipped this one. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing pretty well with episodes. Like I thought that Wednesday's
Yeah.
episode was pretty fun. Monday's episode
Mhm.
was pretty fun. Like they've
Yep.
been doing a pretty good job with it being quite exciting. And so the fact that like I thought it was going to be a really exciting episode,
Yeah.
that it just was like, oh, this isn't as excited as I thought it was going to be. It was really like the pacing wasn't that exciting, and I really thought that we were going to get a full head of household competition, and I wasn't watching it in live,
Right.
so I was like fast forwarding a little bit. I'd like to out of the commercials, so I just thought that there was going to be more time left, and then I see the credits, and I was like, what? They're not even going to finish this episode. I was so irritated. So yeah, it was, as Sidani's saying, it was a bit of a snooze
Yeah,
fest.
100%. You're right. It was
Oh,
like could
bad.
if you missed it, like you didn't miss much. So don't worry about it.
Correct. What we're here to talk to you about of everything that you snooze. So Natalie says, I love Sister, Sister, and Seventh Heaven. Seventh Heaven, I've seen every episode of Seventh Heaven.
Me too.
Absolutely. I thought that Jessica Biel was like the prettiest woman or girl at the time
Yeah.
that I'd ever seen in my entire life. I thought that she was just so pretty. Loved Ruthie.
What
I
about
just, yeah.
the bangs? Who was the daughter? Lucy with the bangs?
Yeah, Beverly, what's her last name?
Beverly. That's who I was thinking too. Beverly. I want to say Crusher, but that's Star Trek's The Next Generation. Beverly something. But she had those bangs. They were out of control.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Her bangs. And wait, the youngest daughter's name was
Uh,
Lucy. Then
no,
Jessica's name.
wasn't it
Oh
Ruby?
no, Ruthie.
Ruthie.
And what was
Lucy
Jessica's?
and
What's her name?
I don't know, but Beverly Mitchell. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
You
it.
guys are so good. You guys
On
watch
top
this
of
as
it.
well. Sister, I didn't fully watch, but I remember loving their brother. I believe it was their brother that was on
Family Matters.
not Family Matters. Wasn't it
No?
another show? Wasn't it with oh my gosh, I'm not remembering all these people properly. One of the Wayans brothers, and he had a show with Tisha Campbell. And didn't
Oh,
he play like the kid that can play the piano? Wasn't that him? That was like really, really precocious. Anyways, I thought it was him. I could be mistaking this young child that I thought was so talented. But but I remember their younger brother, if that was him, and I'm not losing my mind. I never really watched Sister Sister though.
I
I
watched
might have
Sister
been like a
Sister.
couple years too old.
I think one of them was rumored to be on Celebrity Big Brother 2 or
No, it was
3.
the brother. So Ty, I believe his
Oh,
name,
right. Yes,
was
yes.
supposed to be on it,
Yep.
and that is why this season. No, he was supposed to be on this season, and that's why Todrick was a replacement for him
Oh,
this season.
God. Why? What?
Look at
Oh,
full
God.
circle.
Why did that
I know. I
happen?
would have loved to see. It would have been, the dynamic would have been so much better. It would have been like a good season. I'm sorry, Todrick. I feel as though you've ruined season 3 of Big Brother, and you unfortunately tainted Misha's win, in my opinion.
Whoops.
Just saying. So at the beginning of this episode, I was so excited seeing Betty and Summer and Moose all celebrating and jumping on each other. Like, they are just such good energy and they're fun. And I just enjoy watching them interact. How are you feeling? Who are your favorites?
Okay, who are my favorites? My favorites are Summer, which shocks me. I liked Summer in the pre-interviews, but I thought like she's not going to be here to game. I think she's the best position in the house. I think she's the best player. Love Summer, love Tanisha, love Betty, like Herman. I'm not in love with Herman. I'm just not. I think he's a great player. I'm just not in love with him. I think he's a little too wishy-washy for me.
What I like about Herman is that like he's also really funny, and I just like people that are funny. Like,
Yeah.
if you're funny, you can get a pass with me. I'd be like, you suck usually, but you make me laugh sometimes. So you can say.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that Herman is funny, and when I see him making Tanisha laugh until she falls onto the floor crying, like I just love that about him, and that he's capable of doing that. And sometimes I don't even understand what they're talking about, and she's just laughing.
Yeah.
And so that's probably what I like about Herman. And I also like the fact that he tries. Like, he's not a passive player, and I enjoy people that want to be playing the game.
Yeah, I can absolutely appreciate him as a player, and even as a house guest, I think he's really funny. Just don't die for him. I like Jess. I don't like Marty. I don't like Jacey-Lynne. I don't really like Gino all that much. Kevin is all over the place.
I actually really like Kevin. I'm sorry.
love hate with Kevin. There are days that I love Kevin, days that I'm like, Kevin, I want to wring your neck. So maybe Betty and I would be more similar than I would think.
Well, the reason why I like Kevin, obviously, you got to support the Aquarius.
Yes.
But also, though, I find that he is also really funny, and people don't catch his humor sometimes. It just goes over people's head. And so I feel as though maybe it's because it's the Aquarius, like I get what his humor. And so I think that I would get along with him in the house, and we'd have like a gazillion inside jokes, and I think that we'd be laughing a lot all the time. So I don't know. I really like Kevin more than I expected to like him at all.
1,000%. Yeah, he's definitely blown the expectations that I had for him out of the water, for sure.
Oh boy. Y'all won't like Kevin after the tea. I just read about him. What kind of tea?
Tea? A cup of
Like,
tea or
did he? Okay, this is my guess for the tea. Is that because he's an improver here in Toronto? We know a lot of people that have worked with him, that know him.
Yep.
And I'm suggesting that he did something stupid like blackface, or maybe told some like offside jokes or something that he thought was funny, but might have been racially insensitive. So that's my guess. Do you have an idea of what could be the tea?
God, what's Kevin's tea? I don't know. I have no idea what it could be. I can't wait. Tell us.
Tell us.
Speak.
Yes, Danny, speak. I felt bad for Kyle at the beginning of this episode, because when he doesn't have like power, he gets so deflated and just is like, I just felt sorry for him. And like, he's also really young. He literally could be my child. And I just felt a little bit for him, because he's not as familiar with the game as he pretends to be. And so he talks about being like a super fan. And like, I think he doesn't realize what goes into these big moves. I might have talked about this with you before, but it's like he sees the big flashy moves that Dan Giesling makes, but doesn't realize all the work that it took to put structures in place and have people trust you in
Yeah.
order to make that happen. And so I feel like he's just like wants like all the glitz and the glamour, but like he doesn't realize what it actually takes. And that's why it just completely fell apart, because he forgot like the most important part about, I think, about Big Brother and these social experience reality shows is that people need to trust you and people need to think that you trust them. And
Yeah.
so it's always kind of balancing who you trust, who you don't trust, who you trust the most, who you don't trust, like trust the least. And he lost all the people that trusted him and that he trusted, and that he was expecting them to still be giving him the trust even though he's broken it, if that makes sense. So I
It
feel
makes
bad
sense.
for him. He just doesn't
I
get it.
I definitely did not feel bad for him once. Not once since he was a renom, only because first things first, I don't think there's a time frame for being a super fan. So I would not give him that status, even if he gives it to himself. But if his goal really was to make jury, he went about it in such a poor way. So he lost all of his allies, created these false alliances in his head. Paranoia ran rampant week 3. Do you remember last year we always heard about day 3? Like we always heard about day 3 and Josh, and we never really found out what happened. I feel like this season it's going to be about week 3, what happened during week 3, because that was just a full however many hours there are in a week. Testing the audience, let us know. It was just such a disaster that, yeah, from the bottom to the top, or from the top to the bottom, I should say.
I understood what she meant. Okay, so Sydney Speaks says he asked Josh and Herman if they had been to jail before. After Josh said no several times, he says, "Wow, you've had a hard life." And Josh again insisted he has not been arrested. That's kind of like, what was that woman's name last season that wanted to quit, or season 8?
Oh, Carol.
Carol. Kind of, that's a terrible microaggression, Kevin.
Yeah.
And if you were trying to be funny about it, like,
Not
that's
funny.
not funny.
No.
I don't even know what to say about that. It's just so dumb.
Been to jail before. Did he have a story about being in jail? Like, I don't feel like going to jail is like a normal. I don't want to put anybody down, but I don't feel like that's a normal thing to happen to folks.
Don't
it's
think
like,
I know
oh yeah, I spent some time
jail.
in jail. Like, I don't think that's a conversation.
I don't even think
starter.
I know anybody that's been to juvie.
Yeah,
that I can think of right off the top of my head. Maybe there's people that I don't know that have. You have?
Yeah, for sure. I actually grew up with someone that murdered someone. So yeah, we'll talk about that off air. But yeah.
I mean, what's going on East Coast? You know, I know my 2 stories from out there. I'm just like, what's happening over there? What's in the water? Why is everybody so nice? I'm scared. So Danny, that really, really upsets me. But this is about giving a pass to a certain extent. The fact that even though he looks older and mature, he literally is 27.
I'll be right back. 1 sec.
No problem. And at 27, maybe he doesn't really understand how that's considered a microaggression, and how you can't really ask that or expect the only 2 black men, or like partially black men, mixed black men, like asking that is completely inappropriate and wrong. And for you to have that assumption about them is obviously terribly wrong. But I'm giving him a mini pass for the fact that he is 27.
I mean, why would he say, like, you've had such a hard life, though? Like, that's just really random.
Well, maybe Josh was talking about how he has so many siblings, and, you know, if it's, I don't know if he has from a single mother household, but just having that many siblings would lead some to believe that, like, maybe money was a little bit, or maybe shared a story. Money might have been a little bit tight. And so when money's a little bit tight, it does open the door for potentially, you know, looking to take when you don't feel like you're a have. So I can understand a little bit as to why maybe maybe not for Josh specifically, but potentially somebody in the family maybe getting into some trouble. But I mean, no matter what, I don't think that it's an appropriate time or place to be able to having that conversation or to be questioning him about it
We'll
as a
definitely
white
get
male.
we'll definitely get to inappropriate timing before Kyle leaves
Oh
the
gosh.
house.
Nellie says, I don't mind Gino and Marty. I dislike the most. Really? I don't mind Gino and Marty. I dislike the most. Okay, sorry. Yes, I mean I really don't like Marty at all. Wednesday's episode really annoyed me when he won the veto and he's just like, I'm a happy elf, like yelling into the camera. I was just like, this is the vibe I'm not into. I don't want happy Marty, you know? Like,
Yeah.
anyways, he's not my type of personality. He's not my type of player. Jonathan and I talked a lot about the fact that we can't believe that him and I are the same age.
You are? You have the same age as Marty?
Yeah.
Wow. Lord.
I mean, he might be a year older or a few months older than me. It depends on when his birthday is, but we definitely would be in high school at the same time.
Wow.
Like
Marty.
born either the same year or he's a year older than me. Yeah, born but he'd only be born like a month older than me because I'm born in January. So he's either born in December and he's a school year older than me, or he's born in January and he's a couple weeks older than me. What? I mean,
Wow.
I think that that's the most shocking part of it. Yeah, but a lot of people were coming into the chat and kind of saying that like I'm giving Marty a bit of a hard time, and I was like, I don't enjoy him. Like, why do I need to like Marty? Can you explain that to
Was it
me?
New Brunswick? Was it New Brunswick just being like, "Hey, stop. We're looking out for Marty." I don't
I've
like
been to
I've
New
never cared
Brunswick.
I've
Okay.
never cared for Marty. I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't really care for him. I hope he doesn't make jury. If he does, like, good for him. He's won twice. That's
Yeah,
awesome for him.
Marty does talk too much. I don't know. I mean, I guess the people that did the casting really think that he's like, wow, like he's French speaking and he's older and he really wants to play to win. And I think that they think that he's more interesting because his French is his first language. I think that that's what it is, because he's actually not that interesting of a player. I think that he's a little bit problematic. And we'll get to that conversation as well, where I have a few things to say about it. Yeah, I'm not on the Marty train at all. Get me off. Get me off of here. Not a real Marty, not a Marty fan either. Yeah, like some people are really into Marty, and I'm not
Good. I
understanding
mean,
why.
good for them if they like Marty. Like, you can like whoever the heck you want on these shows, realistically. But yeah, Danielle, you're like,
Hi, Danielle. Danielle says, nah, I live in New Brunswick and you're being nicer than me about Marty. LOL. So did you vote for Marty when you were trying to pick a player to be safe for the week, is the question. Because
I doubt it.
he definitely has East Coast support, I would say.
Yeah, I'm sure he has hometown support for sure. Like, anyone from the East Coast who competes on reality television where there's some sort of voting aspect gets a lot of support. Do you remember the TV show The One? The Pops show? This girl Krista won solely because of Newfoundland. They just rallied behind her and they were like, we're giving you all the votes. She could barely hold a note. She seemed like a fun person and she won the entire thing because Newfoundland was like, we're supporting you. Yep, there it is. Everyone stayed up late and voted their butts off.
I mean, I wish I had support of Toronto like that, but I don't think I would. It's so obviously you don't like the old white guy. Oh, see, this woman is back again.
Kelly.
Okay, it's not old if he's the same age as me, so how does that make sense? Unless you're saying that I'm old. I think with Marty, he's a little bit problematic, Shelley, and I think that you probably don't come from the same ethnic background as I do to be able to recognize some things in Marty that are a little bit unsavory. So that is my perspective. If you love Marty, you can go ahead and love Marty to your heart's content. You can vote for him as many times as you wish. I don't feel as though I enjoy him on my screen, and I don't think that he's fun or entertaining.
Hundo.
I wouldn't cast him. You know, he wouldn't be my casting choice. There's definitely a lot of other old white men that I enjoy. Marty planted the seed of possibly a possible cookout in my eyes. Yes,
Mhm.
he did do that, and I think that it's part of his own subconscious biases that allowed him to, and microaggressions that he's not even recognizing, that allowed him to only group these black people together because he sees a commonality in background and skin color.
Yeah.
And I think that's not really a nuanced perspective. I think that it's a very narrow-minded perspective to assume that all the black people are working together. And then with that, because they are begin to be targeted, it forces all the black people to be working together. But what came first was the accusation, not the alliance or the grouping together. So yes, he definitely planted the seed. And so now it is going to become, the season will become a race war, because originally those alliances were mixed up with races,
Yep.
different races. So Savage 7 had all types of people that were in it, as well as the retreat had mixed background people. And now that, Kyle and Marty broke all those up, well, Kyle mostly, now it's kind of turned into a race war.
Yep. I mean, the cookout had a plan, right? Like they had a mission and a plan. And their plan was to have partners to literally take control of the chessboard fully. That's not happening this season. Everyone's really playing in smaller groups, in my opinion, and really trying to branch out on their own. I see a lot more solo games than anything.
And I think the reason why it's solo games is because of the way that the power has been going, that people are like their groupings have been broken up, and so like they haven't had a chance to restructure and like gain some trust with working with people again, because it just keeps on getting broken up and blown up. And so I don't think that it's going to even change this week. I think actually this week is going to push all the black people players together. I do think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Danielle says, hell no, he comes from a tiny village. I'm sure the whole village voted for him. It wouldn't surprise me if they have posters everywhere. LOL. Yeah, probably. He did not know what some systemic racism was. Oh my God, we're going to get there, Lady Di. We're going to get there. New
Yeah.
Brunswick is full of Martys, unfortunately. Biggest thing is that you dislike about New Brunswick. Yes, I went when it was probably about, I guess 20 years ago now. I did a cross Canada tour promoting a magazine, and we threw up a party at each each city. And in the day we had like an activation at each university. And I remember New Brunswick was it wasn't very multicultural from what I saw, at least in the universities that we stopped in, and the people that attended the party. So obviously I'm sure that there is a little bit of diversity there, but I didn't see any when I was there for a couple days. So
yeah, I mean, I can speak firsthand on the East Coast. It's definitely different than it was 20 years ago, than it was 10 years ago. But I mean, some mentalities stay straight on, and when you don't open up your world, your mind frame doesn't normally change.
well, exactly. And if you're not living in like a melting pot like Toronto, like it's really hard to even have perspective. Even if
Yep.
that's not like the programming you watch, it's a little bit more challenging to gain a little bit of knowledge of other cultures. And you just kind of end up being in your own little bubble. And I can understand that, but I don't appreciate that necessarily.
No.
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 So, okay, Betty's having a conversation with Gino where she's totally telling Gino, like, oh my God, you're like such a smart guy, Gino. Like, you're so
Yeah.
smart. Like,
Do you always have
and
a plan? Do you always have a plan, G? Ooh.
I don't think of Gino as a smart guy. Like, I thought that Betty was like just lying and kind of like pumping up his tires or whatever the saying is. But
Yeah.
I don't think Gino is smart at all. He put up his best friend, and he says that like to gain favor in the house. And it's like, you did a bad thing for your game, Gino, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Kyle would have been someone not coming after him. I think there are plenty of people that don't have Gino as their number one target. So it's the back door of Kyle really, in my opinion, came from other people's pushing it onto him. And it was smart for him to do for their games.
Wait, you think it was smart for Gino?
No, for everyone else's
house.
game.
Yeah, for the
100%.
house.
Yeah, it wasn't the best for his.
Well, all the people that have made this terrible move, they benefited greatly from from it. But most of the people that have made similar moves, I don't think any of them has won the game. So I think we talked about this before, but the people that have made similar kind of bonehead mistakes to try to make the house happy was Cindy with an S, is somebody
Yeah.
that did something similar. Ryan Valentine, as we know, did something similar.
Yep.
Jessica in the States with Ramses is something similar.
Yeah.
Anybody else you can think of?
I was going to say Kayla, but she did pretty well for herself. She made final two with Erica when she backdoored her like that.
Oh, but didn't that come off of a twist or something?
Yeah, there was an instant save, or I don't know. I don't remember, but I remember something. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else.
But maybe she would have won the game if she hadn't made that. But yeah, she did get pretty far.
Yeah.
But no matter what, though, you never really want to target your allies. Like, even if they're the worst person in the world, it is somebody that is not going to put you up. And it's also another person that's playing for power that's not going to put you up. Yep. So it's like.
That's a really easy thing for Gino to tell the other house guys. Like, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to put up Kyle because he won't put me up. Like, let's come to another solution here. But I really think he takes what Summer has to say to heart, and he really wants to work with her.
I know who Jojo's two celebrity lookalikes are. Hold on, I'm going to find one. You know who they are.
I know who. I think I know who one is, and she's amazing.
Hold on. I need a good picture.
Ooh.
Hopefully this one kind of looks like you.
Adore Delano. Yes.
I was watching X on the Beach, Peak of Love, and the whole time I was like, "Oh my god, it's so Jojo!"
Yeah,
it's so Jojo, especially when he was kind of out of drag a little bit. Hold on.
I used to get called Adore all the time. People were like, "Look at Adore." Oh, hi, Adore. Hi, Adore Delano.
And the other is, you know who this one is too.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's pretty good.
Miley. There she is.
I mean, you guys look like you could be like, if you were ever to change genders or go through hormone therapy, therapy, I think that you would end up looking exactly like Miley.
I'll take it. I used to get Miley, like, I was like, I don't know, 15 years old. And people were like, you look like Miley Cyrus. I'm like, she's like 6. The
heck? You do, though. Hilarious. So
especially in drag. In drag, it's scary. It's frightening. I could play an impersonator for
Well,
Miley.
isn't that your name? Or no?
Miley High Club.
Sorry,
Miley High Club. Yeah.
Right.
It's a good one.
So I thought it was hilarious though when I really thought that Betty was lying to Gino. Like, I just didn't think that she was actually being serious, saying that his game was good. I was like, if Betty thinks that Gino's playing a good game,
yikes.
Scary. It is scary. So we do see Jess talking to Kevin, and they're in the bedroom, and Kevin just at one point gets up and starts leaving the room, and Jess is like, are you just leaving? Like, we're talking. I feel like sometimes you don't want to talk to me. And Kevin was like, okay, let's just go further away from the door. Clearly, Kevin didn't feel like talking to Jess at that moment, but he did decide to, appease her or them and go and lay on the bed and have a little bit of a chat. What do you think about this dynamic?
I kind of feel bad for Jess, only because they have put a lot of their eggs in Kevin's basket, and I don't think
wasn't it balls in Kevin's basket?
Yeah,
marbles.
Jess has got the marbles. Jess has got the balls. Like, I think Jess would actually be a great ally, and I don't know why Kevin doesn't really want to play with them as much. I think they really fear Jess for some reason.
I think they don't get along with Jess. I think that is what the biggest problem in their game right now is, that many people don't particularly enjoy conversations with them. And so I think Kevin would prefer just to speak to other people or hang out with other people for the most part.
I mean, I absolutely understand that, but would you not want to sit next to Jess in the final two if you don't think people would vote for them to win? I mean, if I had an opportunity to have a ride or die that I knew I would win against 100%, and I could trust, and I felt like would be a loyal ally, why not want to play the game with them?
But, like, you know how much you like talking game. What if you hated talking game with somebody?
I get it,
Would you
but
be laying in bed kikiing with someone that you just didn't feel like talking to?
for $100,000, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? It's like you got to put up. You have to have so much patience in that house, and I do think Kevin has a lot of patience. And it's like you can still use the cover like we can't talk all the time, but like find moments like this where Jess clearly is on the block. You're allowed to speak with someone that's on the block. You can have one-on-one time. Take that
Yeah.
opportunity and run with it.
I wouldn't let them feel alienated at all,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially if I was an undercover ally. I just think that Jess and Kevin's personalities don't really mesh that well, and they are doing their best to have this undercover relationship, but I just don't think that Kevin wants to put any work into it. I think he just wants to have like that vote and know that they're not coming for each other, and that be it. I don't think he wants to strategize.
Yeah, I guess so, which is too bad because I don't think Jess has a clear number one whatsoever.
No.
And the people that I think they might want to play the game with from here on out, that makes me nervous because they're
Well, I think that
really
that might have crumbled a little bit, so let's get that in the spoilers. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. So Kyle and Gino have a conversation, and like the awkward moment when Kyle like swears at Gino. They say, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Um, that's another problem with Kyle is he's not funny at
Yeah,
all.
I felt like he was trying to make that for TV. He's like, I'm gonna make a moment that I know will get aired on the show. This is it. This will be the preview before the next segment. I'll tell you to F off. This is funny. Kyle's 23. He thinks he's like the star of the show right now. Ugh.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it was this week was all about him, absolutely, or the last 2 weeks anyways.
Yeah.
And so Kyle though did something that I don't respect is he says like good job, good game move. I would do it too. Like I respect you, man. And like it was really annoying for me to see Kyle basically asking Gino permission to throw him under the bus in his campaign strategy. I'm sorry, if you're my best friend and you throw me up on the block with the intention of me being the target, all bets are off.
Gone.
Everything you've ever told me is coming out. I am going to be doing everything to save myself and throwing your game underneath the bus. Like,
1,000%.
I would not be asking you for permission to be like, hey, I might have to say some things about you in my campaign. And Gino can say, like, yeah, no worries. Okay, sure, of course. Like, no
No.
holds bar.
Heck no. Kyle went about this week all the wrong way, in my opinion. If he actually wanted to stay, I feel like he threw in the towel personally, but if he really wanted to stay, he really could have blown up everybody's games.
Absolutely. And he does mention that he's taking all the heat for Marty really pushing for that final decision. Like if Kyle was a better player and didn't just get rid of all of his social capital with like his head of household reign, he could have been able to, I think, save himself this week. I think that he could have made Marty like the target. He could have definitely get Jess to be the one that's out because at this point, Jess doesn't really have anybody that's fighting for them.
Yep.
And then I think he could have stayed, but he is just so bad at the game that the most hated player right now in the game was able to stay next to him, which is
that's
the only
terrifying.
person that would be able to do that.
That's wild. I think anyone up against Kyle would have been staying this week.
Yep.
So it was just the last nail in the coffin, and Gino decided to hit it.
So we see a new room reveal with sand. How do you feel about this new room?
I remember the room in season 8, I think. I'm pretty sure
Oh
they
yeah,
had one.
maybe. Yes.
I think they had like, so maybe they're trying to rehash maybe there's some sort of something happening there. Like, I loved the ballroom last year. I thought it was so fun. I
Yeah.
loved that people were just hanging out in it, like relaxing. It was a fun place to go. And we don't really have that this season. So to open up a new room, sure. As long as there's something fun in there. There has to be, I want a twist. I want like a sunbathing twist, or I don't know,
Well, there might
something
be
in the sand.
something in there, like, remember the Expedia room last time? I don't know if that was a room reveal, but like the maps in that room end up being part of a competition near
Yep.
the end. So maybe there's stuff that's in there that will be involved in a competition. Maybe they have to find a particular grain of sand. I don't know. Or like there's a rice grain that has your name on it in the sand.
Oh, painful.
But yeah, I do hope that the room is used for something. Helena and Kyle have a conversation, and is this the awkward conversation that you were speaking about?
No, there was so many awkward conversations. But
Well,
yeah, this
in
one was too.
this one, Helena was talking, and well, Kyle talks, and then Helena was talking, and then Kyle interjects, and she literally was like, "I'm not
No,
done."
no, we're
I was
going.
like, I've never seen this side of Helena before. And obviously everybody has many different sides. And so I'm not saying that she's not allowed to, stand up for herself, assert herself or whatnot. It just was surprising me because she hasn't really been that clear in her opinion about something. She's been quite malleable and on the fence and not really saying too much about most things and people.
Yeah, Helena, I forget about all the time, which is such a great thing for week 4 of Big Brother, week 5 of Big Brother. That's great. I think she's playing a great middle of the road, choosing their words wisely. But I like that she let Kyle know exactly why she did what she did. And Kyle can't talk shit about her because she said, you told me all these things. I never came up with an idea. I was being told what to do, and I'm not playing that type of game. And I can respect that.
And before Kyle got nominated, he was still being like, I was my head of household. I didn't need to be telling people what I was doing, what my plan was. And so he was still kind of doubling down on how he handled his as a head of household. And she was just reminding him, it's like, no, 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 no. Like, that is not the way that you get people to do things by being a dictator.
Yeah.
No. And so I agree with you, Danielle. I definitely love seeing Helena be so direct. I was just surprised by it.
Yeah.
Applauding and surprised. And then, Kyle has the audacity to like not remember her last name. It's just like it shows that you haven't taken a lot of care in getting to know these people in the last month. Like there's not that much to do in the house.
Yeah.
I think I would know everybody's name. I would
I,
hope so anyways. I
I
even
feel
know
like
everybody's names.
I would know like their shoe sizes by this point, I think. I think I would have hand washed everyone's underwear by now. I feel like it would be so close to people. So
Yeah.
Kyle, especially as HOH, it's like that's your time to build relationships and get to know folks and try and set up safety for the next week. He did such a poor job in general.
Thank you, Natalie. Natalie said I looked like Whoopi Goldberg the other day, and I was upset because I get that all the time.
You
Thank
do?
you. I used to, anyways, like for years, and like not that I don't think that she's a great person or comedian. I just didn't feel that she was pretty, and so I wanted to be people to think that I was pretty. So it
I think
always used to hurt my feelings.
I think Whoopi actually was pretty back. Well, not that she's not pretty now, but I think she was attractive back in the day. Her Sister Act days, Ghost.
All I
She
was
has
pitching her
amazing
was in like
shoes.
jumping jack flash, and I just never. Maybe Ghost was the most feminine that she was looking, and obviously Sister Act, but I just never felt that it was somebody that I aspired to be, feminine wise. So
Yeah, that's fair. Whoopi.
so yes, thank you for retracting. So Jess and JC have a conversation. Jess is grateful that they're going to be putting up Kyle, and and Jess is feeling like they have been the punching bag for everybody. And I do think that that's a fair assessment, that people don't seem to respect them in their game, that they are willing to just put them up. They're willing to not talk game with them. They're willing to kind of make them the outsider. So I can definitely understand how Jess is feeling like the outsider. I don't know if I was talking about this with you, but there was one episode, or I don't know, maybe it was the live feeds where they went outside in the morning because it was a nice day. It might have been Monday.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of people outside. And as soon as Jess went outside, everybody went back inside. And they were like, oh, okay. Oh, you guys are leaving? Oh. And it was this kind of a sad moment just to see them standing by themselves and just seemingly wanting to feel included.
Yeah, I just don't see Jess as that off-putting. You know, I just don't see like that you can't just appreciate a little bit about this person and obviously see them as an outcast and how they're being treated by the rest of the house. That's someone I'd want to take into my wings and try and talk a little game with, try and make them feel a little better about.
I think it's the funny factor again.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not a good time hanging out with Jess.
Yeah. It has to be that.
Kind of it's work.
But you put work in, you're playing Big Brother. Like, put the work in.
I get it. I mean, I'm sure I would be putting in the work. I'm sure you would be putting in the work. But these people are like a decade younger than we are. So like they would prefer to have a good time than to put in the work to win. So
yeah.
And they might not be super fans as well. They might just be people that have seen the show.
I get it.
Jess is, oh, wait, hold on. We'll do that later. We'll talk about that. So, so Summer is talking about systemic racism with Helena, and Jess is there as well with Marty. And it was really, I appreciate that the show put this conversation on the air because it is an opportunity to bring up these issues that many people are like, I didn't know that existed in Canada. And I'm just like, even the fact that Marty didn't realize that there was systemic racism that exists or didn't even know what that was. And Summer had to explain what it was. And I'm like, were you not around for the last 2 years where that was like optics? That was optics of the world. It was like systemic racism, like that was what was going on for at least 2020.
White people, do your homework and actually put the work in to understand what's been happening your entire lives and Absolutely. To see your own privilege. Like that was what 2020 was, in my opinion. When I look back to, yes, we had COVID, but you know, Black Lives Matter. And that was a huge turning point for a lot of people just to understand it a little bit better.
And seemingly Marty didn't put in that work to really understand, you know, where Summer was coming from. I appreciate Summer taking the time to educate a little bit because it's definitely not a great feeling to have to justify why you're feeling a certain way when it's not even you that's put yourself in the position to feel that way. Mm-hmm. So, but I do respect and appreciate what Summer was saying and talking about how she had to love her skin before she could love herself. And I thought that was a really interesting thing to present. And I was impressed and proud of her for opening up in that way on TV. I mean, I guess she didn't know if it was going to be on TV or not. But then it bothered me that instead of talking about racism and how she may have been affected by it and what his contribution could have been or where he lacks understanding and knowledge, he relates it to a story about hockey. The word, like the F word that's used as a derogatory slang for gay men or gay people. And that had completely, I felt, absolved him for having any sort of opinion about race. And so
he did say the N word and the F word. And I thought, like, why are you making this about you, Marty? Like, that was the first off-putting moment in the conversation when Summer is trying to explain to you what she's speaking about. And then you're bringing it all back about yourself and you feel the need to bring it up.
Yeah. So I feel as though Marty doesn't necessarily even recognize how he has been affected by systemic racism, that he potentially is a contributor. I think that he needs to do quite a bit of work to see where his implicit bias are. Because to me, it seems as though he was uncomfortable and chose to deflect to something that he could speak about, that, I put my foot down, and when I hear people saying these words, like, I make sure that they don't. And it's like, well, it's not only about words.
Yeah.
Like
It's
there's a
not just
lot
about,
more.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's not just about consequences of these players' actions or his teammates, who
It's
I'm
like,
assuming are all white straight men
why are they
or boys.
saying these words? What kind of power dynamic is happening for them to feel as though it's appropriate for them to use these words? Where do these words come from? Why is it not okay to say them? Like, where are all those conversations? It's just not just reprimanding for using a word. And so I appreciate, on the one hand, how the show did show this, but I wish that Marty also handled the conversation a little bit better, because it would just give me a little bit more hope that me feeling as though he's, undercover targeting all the minorities and people of color. um it would just kind of remove that thought from my head. Go ahead.
And queer people.
And queer
Everyone
people.
everyone he's targeted has been queer.
Yeah, it's true.
So I just wish the show, like, we did not have to learn about Marty's opinions on this or his past. I'm
Especially
sure there
since
was
I
more.
didn't think that it was positive, like fully positive.
Yeah,
Like,
it
he
wasn't well
targeted he
spoken.
targeted queer people, so he's absolved now because he reprimands people for saying the F word and the N word. I don't know if that's a good equal balance.
Like,
So I mean, that's still, I'm happy to have these conversations, because I did a pitch today about this channel, and one of the things that I talked about was how it offers a platform for us to be able to have these bigger conversations about, and it does represent a microcosm of the bigger world. And so I do appreciate it for that,
yeah,
that we are having this conversation right now, where if this scene never happened on our TV show, then we wouldn't be having this discussion. So, all in all, I'm still happy that we're having it, because the education starts to just grow organically. So,
it does.
just saying that there, just saying that.
Hmm.
There's a long segment. Oh, that's what I wrote. So I wrote long segment trying to make Marty look good. That's what I wrote down about that. So
Enter.
the next segment is about slop. I thought it was cute when, I think it was her mom was feeding Josh and Jacey-Lynne the slop, and he's like making the little airplane and the little zoomy zoom. Oh,
Boo-hoo.
Jacey-Lynne didn't like it. I mean, it was in that bucket. Why does it need to be made in that bucket?
I think just to make them grossed out a little bit more, but it looks green this year. It looks like a different slop to me, because I've tried slop and I
Maybe
don't
there's
think
like
that's
pea protein in there or something.
there. It looks way different than whatever I had. What I had was like a yeasty, like yellowy beige color, like just a plain Jane boring.
Yeah,
This
like
looked
it's
like it
some
had some sort
oatmeal
of,
kind of
yeah.
color.
There's some like green tinge to this one. Maybe it was from St. Patrick's Day.
So Jana said lots of First Nation communities in New Brunswick too. I was surprised
Yep.
Marty didn't understand what it was. Well, I mean, if you have the luxury of not having to have these conversations or to care, like, it's easy for them to not be part of your world. If your children aren't involved, like have friends that maybe had situations happen, or maybe the school. I mean, I'm not really sure how New Brunswick is set up, but I could see it easily being a way to like be segregated from any First Nations people.
There are a ton of First Nation communities on the East Coast. So that was something I've always recognized since I can remember. So that is kind of shocking to me that Marty didn't understand.
Well, your other doppelganger, I guess, is Justin
Sophie.
Timberlake, apparently. Hi, Sophie.
Oh,
Thank you for being here.
used to be Lance Bass, Sophie, Lord.
With Jojo, this channel got better. And did you hear about the Real Housewives of New York reboot? Yes, I heard about the Housewives of New York. There's going to be a Legends cast as well as a new New York cast, which is very fun.
Cute.
I'm into that. How are we doing with the draft? I'm still have all my players, and Jess was my number one pick, so I'm doing pretty well. I'll pull it up so we can look at it at the end.
I think the audience just lost their first person.
I believe you are correct.
Yeah.
I wish they would show Jace is crying.
Me too. Me too.
USA Big Brother is better.
Don't agree.
Um,
I don't agree.
what I like about it is the familiarity. I've been watching it since like for decades now, and at different stages in my life. And so there's something about like the music, and it used to be like my summer. Like I was so excited when summer came because I knew it was Big Brother time. And so I have a lot of nostalgia that goes along with Big Brother US. So for that fact, I'm always going to love it more than something that started 10 years later. So yes, I enjoy it more just because it's something that I'm more used to.
Yeah.
But I do think that casting is better in Canada so far in the last few years, anyways. And I find that I like the characters more. Yeah, I think the casting is just better, and so I'm liking it better.
I prefer Canada, but
Mhm.
I love US, so I like them both.
I like them both a lot.
Mhm.
So, what am I writing here? Josh. Oh, okay. So we started this weird segment that's been teased is about all the phone calls.
Oh,
I wish we got to see all the darn phone calls. Not like I didn't want to see the whole segment, but like just give me like a flash of each person getting it
yes.
because I do want to get to know these players more and see them be doing these silly things. They really only focused on Marty being on hold for a long time. Who was the first person? Josh, was it? Yeah, Josh.
Yes, Josh with
Um,
that hurdle, he was jumping over that
He's
couch.
right over the couch.
Ooh.
And those were the only three. And you watched Taryn yesterday that doesn't know what happened between Marty or between Kevin getting the phone call that says something about spaghetti, and then to him doing interpretive dance and massaging spaghetti all over his body. What did you think about this segment?
I mean, I wanted to see all the punishments. I wanted like a little clip of what was going on. I wanted someone to get a power. I wanted one of them to be really lucky about something. I mean, we didn't see Gino and Summer handcuffed at all.
Yeah, why?
I think Summer said Gino sucked. So, I think she said he was boring during it. So obviously they're not going to air that. But I want to see like the meat and potatoes of this phone call, and we didn't get anything worthwhile in my opinion.
Did you find
No
the
power.
dance funny?
Did I find what? Just no.
I mean, I thought it was funny in the sense that when he was kind of lying in the tub like a turkey being basted,
Yeah.
covered in spaghetti, I just was like, that's such a gross position to be covered in spaghetti in. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Just
Comical, sure, but was what if I was in the backyard watching, I would be laughing.
I'd be like
Yeah.
like it's so uncomfortable to
Ridiculous.
watch, ridiculous, laughing, secondhand embarrassment, like yes,
Yeah, all
but
of
I
it.
wouldn't be like I'd be like oh god,
Ugh.
Kevin, you're disgusting. But I think my laughing would make other people laugh.
Yeah.
So with them doing all these tasks, apparently they were on like slop for being bad in the house, but they never showed us what happened. But the pantry is now stocked, so they're all really excited that they get some food. Um, we see Kyle talking to the camera about being so grateful for this experience and how he's, Big Brother super fan. And I'm just like, can you stop saying that you're a Big Brother super fan because you're not?
Yeah, you
You
can be a
can't be.
fan. He's a fan, but he's not a super fan. There's just in a year, I don't know how you could possibly watch every episode
And all the recaps
and
and
everything.
all
No.
the Twitter feeds. Like it's
Yeah,
you are a new person that enjoys this show.
100%.
So Jess is giving Helena a massage when Betty walks in. And I thought that this was a strange conversation because Betty's like, are you campaigning? And Jess is like, no, I just kind of want to let Kyle hang himself, or I mean, don't say that, but him throw away his own game. And I think that that's a decent way to play it. But I also think that Jess maybe should have used it as a way to just gain a little bit of friendships with people and like make a little bit of a deal with people. And, as opposed to just like, just not letting anybody, not crashing and burning, just
Yeah.
allowing Kyle to do that. I think being a little more active might have been better, but I thought it was strange how Betty was approaching her about this.
Yeah, I've seen in the past that Betty said that they have a soft spot for Jess, and they do like Jess, but I just don't see Jess well positioned with anybody, unfortunately.
I agree, Dolores. We never understood the punishment part. It definitely felt like a story that you walked in on the middle of and it just went straight to the end. Totally agree. And that's a really good way to look at it. Cause I was like, even with like the telephone calls, it's like we didn't see all of them. We didn't see why they were doing it. So we didn't see how we got to the interpretive dance in a vat of spaghetti. Like, it's just like, what's happening? What? Why? What's the reason?
Yeah,
Give me the rhyme.
they did such a good job last year with remember when everyone was laughing sitting on the couch and they had to like sit in ice cream and there was just like
Mhm.
playing, I don't know if it was just a game. No, it was the bingo thing. That was fantastic. This felt really edited and strangely placed.
So we next see Kyle talking to Herman, saying that he's like a true free agent now and that he's coming for Marty. And I felt to me that Herman was like trying his best not to laugh. Like, because he just was like, there's no chance that Kyle is going to be able to sway him. Like,
No.
zero.
Yeah.
Zero chance. Oh, I missed this conversation, but not Jess, Jace and Gino were definitely probably going to be voting out Kyle, and the rest of the house is definitely probably going to be voting out Kyle. And then they cuddle.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I didn't see them talk game together very much this week or this past week. I thought it was kind of like, what's Jace doing? I don't know. I don't know.
I do feel that they are putting in more effort now. So we'll get to that in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So at the eviction ceremony, Kyle stands up, makes a speech about mental health, which I do respect, and I do I applaud providing a little bit more eyes and people and awareness around mental health and then making and just stigmatizing it. But I also have a slight problem with a 23-year-old kind of acting like a counselor or a psychiatrist or a psychologist and doesn't have the full training. They didn't show it on the show, but he kind of led a session where people were sharing mental health issues, stigmas, or whatnot, and just to opening up that conversation. And great idea. But like, I just also don't think that in a social experiment of a game to force people to share things about themselves in this environment, I don't think that's safe. And I don't know if I want to share that with you, Kyle. Like, you aren't my doctor, you're not my therapist. And so I don't know if he would be the person that I would want to be holding the space for me. So
especially when people can use those things against you in a game full of deception and manipulation and social strategy in general, it felt kind of icky. I was glad that the feeds, I think the feeds were down for the majority of it, but some, was still shown. And if you want to share, great, but I don't think I'd be the first one sitting there opening my mouth for Kyle in the house. Maybe outside of the house we could chat, but no, not in the house.
In that circle, I mean, I would probably share something that was like a not a real share. You know what I mean? Like,
or that you'd feel comfortable talking about with a big group of people and all of Canada watching.
Yeah, I'd probably share things like, I've seen really how not having a voice has affected people, and I might even maybe share stories of a couple people that I know that were friends of mine that have taken their lives because of this, and so I might maybe not share obviously anything about that person specifically, but like how like us not knowing and them not feeling that they had someone to talk to about it, and how that in a ripple effect affected so many other people that are still alive. And so maybe I'll bring a story like that into it, but I don't think that I would share something personal about me and about my particular struggles. I don't think so. Not for a 23-year-old boy, as someone would say.
I wonder what Josh thought though, like the fact that he's an actual doctor sitting there, like.
Well, he
and
was
was
kind of saying, like, I think that we should leave these kind of discussions really up to the professionals, or like to find a professional that you trust to really open up and have these conversations with. So he's kind of advocating for professionals to hold the space for these type of discussions.
makes sense.
So yes, Dolores Kyle is a Twitter created fan. It's true. It's true. And so Jess stands up and makes an alien allegory. I thought that it was unique and I liked that. And so maybe more of that, Jess. But I don't want any more like critical Jess. Nobody likes me. Nobody wants to talk to me. Like, I don't want her to be looking out for reasons why people are not including them. I would prefer if they switch that up and was a little bit more positive.
Yeah, no more Eeyore. I don't want
more Eeyore. Exactly.
Yeah.
Kevin stopped doing that, it seems, quite a bit. So, and I think it's really helping his game. So I think Jess needs to follow suit. And by a unanimous vote, Kyle Moore, the second Kyle Moore in a row, leaving fourth out of the BB Brother Canada house, the fourth Virgo in a row this season to be leaving the Big Brother Canada house. And on his way out, Kyle Moore says 2 truths and 1 lie, that he was given a power that he could not speak about, or he'd be instantly evicted. And now that he has been evicted from the game, the power is going to be re-released into the house. And the number 12, and his name is Kyle Moore, and he climbed Mount Everest. Which one is the lie?
Oh, I doubt he climbed Mount Everest, but why didn't he try and stay in the house instead of making up this like stupid 2 truths and a lie? Like,
yeah, he wanted to go out with a bang, but like he doesn't know how to put a bang in his game.
No, that was bad.
Oh, we love Arisa too. I mean, I love Julie Chen though for who she is. We used to call her the Chen bot. Like, she's part of my Big Brother experience. So I would like to keep them separate. But of course, I love Arisa. She's my girl. I am still thinking of maybe trying to approach her to come and chat with me so we can talk about school and like if she ever thought that she would end up here, and kind of see what her journey is like, since we pretty much had the same like background and upbringing. So it would just be nice to talk to her like on a platform where I can see her growth, Yes. So I'm thinking about approaching her. That's something that's kind of in my thought bubble. So it is going to, so in the interview with Arisa, Kyle says that he feels as though Jace, Gino, Jess, or Josh could take the game. Who do you think he most thinks is going to win?
Probably Gino.
You think? Even after this week? I guess he has a terrible read.
He has a really bad read, but he also would think like, oh, it was such a big move to get me out. Like, good for Gino. It's such a resume builder. But while he was in the house, he was talking about how he thought Summer was going to win. So I don't know why he decided on those 4 names.
I don't know either. But we get to the beginning of the Head of Household competition where it's being teased that Legends coming back into the game. And they're going to be running around the house, and there's 5 locked or unlocked doors that they're going to have to study and memorize, I guess, the contents and what is happening in these locked doors, assuming that's going to have a past Big Brother player. And then the episode ends.
Yeah.
When they start running around, and we see from the perspective of the room. But we did not get to see what was in these rooms. So cliffhanger till Monday.
Do you know who they were?
I do. So if you guys want to tune out now, that's the end of the episode recap. We are going to talk a little bit of spoilers at the moment. I think I'm going to need to get a spoiler song. We will talk about this offline now and see if we can think of something super fun. But we are going to start with some spoilers as to who won the next head of household, who were the legends that came back into the game. So if you do not want to know these definitively from our mouths, you may get spoiled in the chat, so don't read all the chat. Please tune out now. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment. All right, so Jojo.
Yes.
Who is the next head of household?
Week 5's HOH is Jess.
Jess has done it. Jess is the second 2-time competition winner this season. I knew that you would be happy about this win. And so what are your thoughts so far?
I'm excited for Jess. I hope that they take this opportunity to better their games, to find a more structure, and to really put a clear target out there who they want to go home, and hopefully it's successful for them.
Well, it seems pretty obvious who they are going to be targeting. I do not hope it's successful for them because this person, I feel, is the only male person that is playing really hard. Maybe Kevin as well, but I just feel as though if Herman, who is most likely going to be Jess's target, if Herman leaves the game, it would suck for him to leave pre-jury. B, he really is trying hard, and he had a lot of really good things going that Kyle ended up blowing up. And so it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to restructure his game and put it back to where it was, where he was in a really good position after his head of household. Now he's in a terrible position after his supposed allies head of household. So I want Herman to stay.
I'm fine with him. I'm definitely fine with him staying, but I do think it's kind of hilarious that his 1 weak spot, being Jess, is the person who won HOH.
It is his 1 weak spot, but also I wish that, I know it's not necessarily the best for them right now, but Gino just put you up last week and was really easy to have you go. If Kyle didn't go up there, it was most likely going to be Betty or Tanisha, and they would both stay over you. So Gino didn't care about your game. And the fact that it doesn't even seem like they are considering Gino, I'm just kind of like,
I get it. I think Herman and Gino would be very easy noms for Jess, only because obviously they both put Jess up on the block. I just think Jess and Jace have a better relationship now. And I think Jess is really going to try and work with Jace and hope that Gino's involved with that. I know that they spoke today about Gino being a fake backdoor option to scare people into not using the veto if they do win it. But I also think Gino's the type of person that just sits there and goes, okay. Yeah, he doesn't really give much. And I don't think he gave much to Jess today.
Agreed. And so last night, though, Jess was having meetings to see who they were going to take to Wendy's. And Moose and them did not have the greatest of meetings. But I did feel that they did have a really good meeting with Jace. It seemed as though Jace and them had a really good relationship. They were joking, laughing, talking doing some gaming a little bit as well. Just deciding that it probably wouldn't be best to take Jace for the fact that it would look like they were closer than they want people to know. And so I thought that was a good read. And Jess asked Jace also as to whether or not that Jace felt that Gino would be willing to work with them and maybe they can foster some sort of relationship. So I do think that Gino is safe, and it would be because of Jace in this situation. So I think that was some good work on Jace's part to really been working on their relationship with Jess. And I think it's helpful for her and Gino this week.
And I think Jace really cemented like the 3-headed snake that has been spoken about with Moose, Herman, and Tanisha. I just don't see them as a trio.
whole riddle was a lie. Yes.
was. Yeah.
They're not a trio, but they're becoming a trio because it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If everybody keeps on saying like something over and over again, and then doing the actions that it would need for these people to start wanting to work together and feeling targeted, like they're going to work together for sure.
Yeah.
Right now, it seems as though they just get along and they laugh a lot, but people feel as though Tanisha is some huge mastermind, and Tanisha's actually not even playing that hard at all.
Yeah.
So it's just a bad read on the house right now. And I'm worried that Tanisha might. I don't think that she would go home, but I think it would be bad, I think, for Jess's game if Tanisha has to hit the block. So it looks right now as though Herman and Moose will be the initial nominations.
Mhm.
And if anybody were to win the veto, it seems as though Tanisha would be the renom or Summer.
Bad. No, don't do it, Jess.
And Josh, Marty, Gino, Jace are all safe for sure.
Yeah.
Did I miss anybody?
Helena, maybe?
Helena
safe?
is safe. Absolutely.
Even Betty could be safe, I think.
I don't know if Betty was in the list of people, but and probably not, because Betty's black.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So
chances are they're willing to lose her.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right, really not liking Jess. As they've been handling their head of household currently and seeing it getting worse. A lot of Rachel bias is being thrown around by certain house guests. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And it's just surprising because Jess knows the optics and all that and still is allowing it to play out. Now, I do understand that Moose and Herman have said their name, so it makes sense, but the fact that there's no even consideration of Gino for the fact that he did put them up is a little bit problematic, seemingly. So we'll see what happens. I'm still going to give them the benefit of the doubt, especially because the people that have been saying that they're going to be targeting them have just happened to also be of color. But I hope that it's not going to get any worse.
Let's hope not.
Please. Like, they called T aggressive and was scared to approach her. Very odd. T?
Aggressive?
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about kind of aggressive personalities, I would say that Jess has more of an aggressive personality than Tanisha does.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Like, I don't... A, I'm not scared of any of these people. But B, definitely not Tanisha out of all the people to be scared of.
No, when has she raised her voice?
She really cried over her daughter.
Yeah.
Or laughed with her mom.
Yeah, 100%.
Or have banter with Summer. That's a problem, Sidani.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did I do?
Something. Everything.
Like this. Oh, well, that's pretty much it, I think. Did I miss anything about the spoilers or things that we know now about this week?
Oh, just who the legends are.
Oh, okay. So I heard that one legend. Do you know them all?
I think so.
Okay, so you give me one.
Cindy with an S.
Cindy with an S. I did hear this.
Yes.
I also heard the Poutine Puppy is one of the legends.
Godfrey, who hates me.
Oh, the Lady Plaza. Yes. Jed is also one of the legends.
And Spicy V Victoria.
Spicy V Victoria is the last one. Oh my God, I have to play this to you. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it because I hate the feed volume because it's so quiet, but this really...
It got you good?
Hold on. It's really quiet though. Can you hear it all?
No.
It's basically Marty saying that, and Spicy V's there, and Spicy V's so hot. Like,
Ooh.
She is the hottest. And I'm just like, Marty, there's no way that you're just like, Spicy V, so hot. I was like, I think she's very pretty, obviously, but I just it rubbed me the wrong way to hear Marty being like,
Marty.
she's so hot,
So
she's so hot.
spicy.
I mean, maybe that's loud when he says that.
So hot. I mean, also, what are we using legends loosely or no? I know that's shady to say, but like, everyone's just from the GTA, right? It was just people that could get in.
Jed's
They didn't
in the
fly anyone
GTA.
in. Where's Ika? Where's Demetrius?
Well, they just had their little special, so I didn't really think that they would be back on again. I just didn't think that they would do that twice, like a week apart. Who else? Okay, so Spicy V lives in Hamilton, pretty close. Jed, I think, is downtown. Godfrey, where's Godfrey?
I think he's here in the city.
Okay. Who else was there again?
V, Cindy.
Cindy's, yeah, she works at Porter. Maybe she'll be our flight attendant when we go to New York.
Oh, I can imagine I would die. Like, hey,
should we get your partner to look up flight schedules?
100%. Yeah.
Let's see, because I know a few people that work there, but like that would be fun if Cindy was on our flight.
I'd love it. He's flown with her a couple times. I'm always like, I want to fly with Cindy. Actually, I've met her a couple times, so
I've met her kind of once. She came to an event that I was working at.
I served her at a restaurant. I literally was her server. And I was like, hi, Cindy. She's like, you know who I am? I'm like, let's talk. I sat down. I'm like, we're going to talk, okay? Let's talk your game.
I remember when she was doing her flight attendant training, she wasn't well liked, and she was the same personality in
Cindy is Cindy, 100%.
She was in the show. And she also I heard that she's a purser, which is basically a flight manager. So she manages all the other flight attendants on each flight. And I heard that people don't enjoy working with her. She's has a little bit of an ego, and this little bit, yeah.
Tea.
I didn't even realize I was going to be spilling any tea today, but yes, we are. What were you going to say though? Were you going to say one last thing?
No, just the legends.
Just the legend. Oh no, who's the last person that oh yeah, and we know that Anthony is in GTA. So yes, most likely all. But they all are legends, right? So Anthony is probably more of the deserving winner. I'm not touching the block for the whole season and really was involved in all the strategy of that game. And coming from someone that wasn't a super fan beforehand, I think that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Cindy made 2 bonehead moves. She has won a battle back before. She, the move of season 5 was surrounded by her. It helped other people win the game. It didn't help her. So it was kind of a legendary move, but it was not in her benefit. Godfrey. Jed made that terrible decision. Like, so it's legendary in a bad way, but like it's still super memorable. Godfrey, legendary, I would say, with that speech being like, I'm coming, I want your blood all over me, all that stuff. I think it's pretty legendary. Is that everybody or one more?
Victoria, Spicy V.
And she definitely was a legendary player, I'd say. So yeah, I can give them all legendary status.
Yep. Crowns. There you go.
They all get their crowns. Yes, Jojo is a little bit shady. You guys always have insider tea on BB Can. Why these lives are unmissable. Thank you. Well, it just so happens that we end up knowing the people that are on the show, or like once removed or bumped into them on the street and stuff like that. So we both live in Toronto downtown. So it's very, very possible and likely to bump into some of these people. And then, as I've mentioned a gazillion times, I went to middle school and high school with Arisa. So there's also like that kind of avenue as well. So yeah, we are in it, and we both work as actors. So we're going to know a lot of the goings. The goings-ons. Exactly. Hi, DM Rocks. I know who just put up. Oh, we got the truth. Okay, so tell us, DM Rocks. We are in the spoiler portion, so let us know now. I'm assuming it's Herman and Moose, but let us know if it's something different than that.
Yes.
As Jojo is also looking on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm going right now. Seeing if it's official. La-di-la-di-doff should be the first thing that pops up. Oh, it's not.
It's always the first thing that pops up when I'm trying to avoid spoilers, right?
Yeah, and when I'm looking, it's not popping up. So
let's go to my girl Cass.
I just went to Cass. Nothing yet.
Really? Oh, Cass is nothing.
Oh,
you're right.
5 minutes ago. Are they up DM rocks for officially?
Okay, so this little live feed update, this is 5 minutes ago. Jess makes it clear that Herman and Moose have been talking about them for a month. They tried to offer Herman a olive branch, and he didn't want it. T says that if they take the shot and both come down somehow, she will try and get them to leave them alone.
Oh, okay.
So I do not see anything official yet.
No. But most likely those two. Yep.
Oh, so yeah, Moose and Herman. This is what it was expected. But she said the backup replacements are Tanisha and Summer. Yeah, that's what we were figuring was going to be happening this week. And I don't want Tanisha or Summer to hit that block. I can live with Moose going home. I'm sorry, Moose fans. I feel like from the card, the tarot card that Moose got, he got the Four of Swords, which means that like I think he's going to chill for a long time. I think he can get to like Final Four maybe. So I think that Moose is staying. Herman got the Devil, which is kind of maybe the snake oil salesman type card where, you know, materialism and can be swayed by things. So I can see Herman maybe going out, but it's a major arcana. So that would also lead me to believe that he makes it to jury. So maybe Tanisha's going to be out this week.
Oh, she might be up, but I don't think she'd go home.
You know?
Maybe
Tanisha's going to be up. Why am I hearing an echo now?
That was my phone.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're using your phone and your computer. Okay, I just wanted, lastly, before we say goodbye, I want to pull out the
drafts.
The draft. Just so we can have a little visual before we go. Can you see what's going on here? So poor Michelle here with La Strategie only has Betty and Marty left. I'm sure she's very upset about having Marty on her team. I don't feel as though Marty is somebody that Michelle would want to be rooting for. I still have all Team Venus love intact, with obviously our head of household here being Jess. Team Her, which is your team, is Helena, Tanisha, and Herman. So you are very likely to have someone go home this week, unfortunately. So you're down to 3 and maybe down to 2. And then the audience lost their first player, as you mentioned, in Kyle. And yeah, it still, I think, has a decent group, but they also may lose a player this week as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, either you or the audience are most likely going to be losing a player this week.
I think it's going to be the audience.
You think the audience?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe Moose could go. I could let Moose go for sure. The card, I had not sure how to read his card properly yet. So depending on obviously how this season goes, is going to make me understand what the cards mean and what they kind of represent. And so I could see Moose leaving very easily because I wouldn't be surprised if Herman won the veto. I also wouldn't be surprised if Tanisha won and took Herman off the block. Unless she scared her that Summer would go up. Maybe she wouldn't take him off the block, but
yeah, it could come down to votes this week. How many votes to go? 1, 2,
9.
3, 4, 9 to go. Oh, so no chance for a tie.
Correct.
I mean, if the house wants to do what Jess wants, Herman's gone, but I don't know if the majority will go that way. Looking at this.
Well, if Summer and anybody's up, Summer stays. Tanisha, I think, stays between those two guys. So I do think it's going to come down between Herman and Moose, and it's basically who doesn't win the veto.
Yeah.
If neither of the nominees win the veto and they don't get taken off the block, I think Herman will go home. But yeah, whoever out of those two guys is still on the block at the end of the week will be the one that's going home, or Herman.
Yeah.
Basically. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you for being here. I know we're kind of doing a little surpriser here on this Friday afternoon, but I actually enjoyed this time.
Yeah.
It's nice when it's still light outside to have a little talk about Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything going on you want to share with the people before we sign off?
Do I? I don't think so, no. Nothing
Well, I
exciting.
do. No.
Yeah, you do.
Subscribe, guys. Just subscribe. Just subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Help it become part of this community, please, just so we can grow and get bigger and, have more shows that we can cover and more people to cover them. It really helps with the algorithm if you like this video, if you're watching in the replay, and leave a comment. What is your prediction? If you were an oracle, who do you predict will be leaving the Big Brother house this week at the hand of Jess? Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much, everybody here in the chat, for being here. You girls are amazing. We love you, and we will see you next time.
Mwah.
Ciao. Mwah.